up, real ones? Welcome back to the Relationship Podcast, where we're bringing the real back to relationships.
Yes, sir.
I'm Asha Steele.
And I'm Devin Steele.
And we're so excited that you guys are tuning in today with us.
Yeah, because I know y'all thinking, man, where y'all been at?
Well, we have a good excuse. Kind of. Not even an excuse, okay?
Okay.
It's been quite some time since the last time. And I think right after our last episode was when Houston got affected by like a catastrophe, to say the least. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it just, passing down from 2020 to 2021, but we got hit with a winter storm, okay, you guys, in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, and what's crazy about it is when they told us that, it was going to be in the teens, it was going to be cold, we didn't really think nothing of it.
Right, because we're from the East Coast.
Yeah, we're from the Northeast, so like having, winters when you're in the teens is normal. But what we didn't understand is not everybody has the same infrastructure that we have up in the north.
Right.
So when these type of temperatures hit this type of tropical climate down here in Houston, they're not really prepared for it. So
not at all.
Yeah, there was like pipes bursting all over the place, sprinkler systems going off, people without water and electric like we were.
For days.
Yeah, it messed up a lot of people's lives. We saw, people die from this. So it was like way bigger than we had originally thought it would be. And it's just really sad because people were already struggling with a lot of things from, the impact that COVID had. And for this to hit people on top of that, it's like, man, when do you get a break?
Exactly.
Like we were without water for like 4 or 5 days. We had to fill up the bathtub. Good thing I was watching the news, and one of the things that they talked about you can do before the storm even hits is to fill up your bathtub with water in case the water gets shut off and you don't have a water supply to bathe and cook with.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, man, it's not about to get that bad. Like, what are you talking about? But right before the storm hit, Asha decided to fill up the bathtub, which was a good thing that she did because we ended up using that water for a lot of things. So it was just crazy. You learned a lot during that moment, especially about, trying to find ways to survive and understanding that you can't really take things for granted because they can be gone in a blink of an eye, especially when it comes to like different resources. But it was a sad week in Houston. A lot of people are still trying to recover from that.
Yeah, so that was definitely something that was, something that we had to get over. Like you said, a lot of people are still trying to get over that. So we're praying for all of those that have been affected by it because it was definitely unexpected and such an issue for so many people. So
yeah, so our prayers, because we know we have a lot of listeners from Houston. So if you out there, you tuning into this podcast, our prayers are definitely with your family, and we hope that you're able to get through this. And we're going to get through it together. But hopefully this episode will help, keep your mind off of whatever you're going through right now. Because I think we got a good episode for y'all.
Because around the time this was going on, like literally, I believe like a little bit after that, or if not around the time, so many people heard about it.
What?
This video, this discussion that we're talking about today for the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Before we jump into that, we got a couple of announcements. Although we may not have been putting out a lot of episodes, we've been going ham when it comes to our Instagram lives, making sure that we're able to, stay consistent with our Bible studies because we know how important faith is right now in these dark times we're going in. Every Friday we have our weekly wind down, and, we've been getting some great feedback on that.
Our weekly wind down has been
popping.
Lit. Okay.
Yeah, it's been popping.
I think so many people are like look forward to that because we can't really go anywhere. It's still COVID, still the pandemic. So it's like good to be able to come on there and mix and mingle and talk to everyone, have them hop on live with us and just have discussions. And then I noticed now after a few weeks of us doing it, people like, oh, I have my wine tonight, and they telling us what wine they have. So it's like really cool. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and just like the guests, the people who have been coming on.
Yes.
Like you said, we try to bring in influencers, but we also try to bring in, everyday people because we feel like they have a lot to add to this conversation. Like it's not just about people who have a platform who are married, right? Or
Right.
know about the struggles of marriage or know how to overcome struggles of marriage. But it's just everyday people being able to bring people on and really share their story, whether it's a story of triumph or it's a story of struggle. We think that it's important to highlight these stories. And I think one of my favorite ones, I don't even think it happened on our weekly wind down. It may have happened on our Bible study. But it's like after the Bible study, it turns into like a wind down. Sorry, God. But people get a little ratchet after the Bible study. But a guy came on there and talked about how he was dealing with a breakup with him and his girlfriend of 17 years, or his fiance, 17 years. And he showed a level of vulnerability that I have not really seen too many men do.
Yeah.
Like, he came on there and he just took full accountability for the part that he played in their breakup, which I think was refreshing to a lot of people. I know we received a lot of messages from other men saying that they needed to see that so that they can see what they're doing in their relationship because they don't want to be the cause of their family breaking up. I think it was refreshing for a lot of women.
Yes.
You know, just seeing a man be able to take accountability for his actions that he played and the hurt that his woman experienced. And, you know, like I just said, it just touched a lot of people. And, you know, I reached out to him and let him know that we were going to work together. You know, I want to do everything I can to help him become a better husband, a better man, a better leader, not only for his family and for his community, but for himself. So we definitely look forward to getting an update on that, working with him. And a bonus of that, his fiance ended up seeing the live, which is pretty cool. And she saw how he was remorseful for everything that he put her through. And she actually wants to come on our live as well, where we can really sit down and have a conversation and get her perspective on what went wrong in their relationship. So I think having the both of them on to really talk about their relationship is going to be really good.
Yeah.
It's going to help change a lot of people's relationships. So stay tuned for that. We're still trying to get a date. We'll let you guys know. But we also have another announcement. You want to tell them about our coaching calls?
Yes, you guys. So we actually came up with this not too long ago. We were trying to figure out a way to just be able to connect with so many of our real ones, because like we say all the time, we get so many comments, DMs, emails, just asking us questions, asking for advice, and we got swamped, you guys. So we were just trying to just keep up with all you guys and get back to you, but we were just like, there's no possible way, right? And
It's
then some questions really respond for you to be able, or just I feel like it needs for you to be able to have a one-on-one connection, personal connection with the person, to just hear what they're talking about and be able to, you know, talk to you face to face. So we was like, you know what, this would be a great opportunity for us to come up with these coaching calls, because so many of you was asking how could we, you know, get on a phone call or hop on a live with you and all this other stuff. So we decided to come up with our coaching calls, 30-minute sessions that we're offering. If you go to our website, realrelationshipspodcast.com, I think it's awesome because we didn't even really launch it yet, but so many people have been, I guess, finding a link from our bio and clicking on it. So we've been like booking up so fast to get coaching calls. It's crazy. And it's just been like a few days, just this week. So I think it's awesome that we're able to really connect with all of you on a more personal level, because, you know, it's great to be able to respond in an email or respond in a DM, but just being able to see your face and connect it and connect your story, and really for you to really hear from us personally is like more impactful, I feel like. So I'm excited for where it's going. With the coaching calls.
Yeah, because a lot of people reach out to us and they ask us advice about marriage. You know, they may be facing some turmoil in their marriage right now, and they don't know whether they should stick it out or, you know, whether they should leave. And it's tough giving that type of advice over a DM.
Yeah.
Because it's only so many characters they can write in a message that you don't really get the true backstory of what's going on. Like, they may be facing certain issues and we may read into it wrong in the message, but when you sit down and talk to them, you're like, oh man, this is normal. Like, this is what married couples go through, and here's what you can do to overcome those challenges. So just being able to hop on a Zoom call 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 or 2-on-2, whoever, that sounds crazy again. But just being able to talk to people and really hear what they have to say and hear their backstory allows us to give more effective advice to help them through whatever struggles they're facing with. So if you want a one-on-one coaching call, make sure you click the link in our bio. It's called Real Relationships Coaching Call, and set yours up today.
Yes.
I think we only got one more announcement, and that is go rate and review our podcast. You know, we say that every podcast, but go ahead and go rate and review our podcast. Share it with people if you think they can benefit from the information that we share on this podcast, because this is how we're going to grow the community. Like, we've been able to grow it amazingly through y'all. Like, we have a very interactive community that, you know, writes comments on our videos, that writes comments on our YouTube channel, and they share our content. So we thank y'all for the growth that we've experienced since launching this podcast, because we couldn't do it without y'all. So without further ado.
Well, wait, you guys. I have one more thing just to throw in there. So we also, you know, we decided to do a lot of the things that we do, and a lot of the things around the podcast is based around, you know, relationships, Real Relationships Podcast. But we don't forget about our singles out there, you guys, okay?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We're constantly thinking of ways to connect with all of you, because we get so many DMs from every situation, and whether you be single, in a relationship, it's complicated, all of that. So we decided to come up with the Love Lounge, you guys, which we're going to be offering services to you guys on the Love Lounge Facebook page, right? And so this is going to be a community for singles to be able to mix and mingle with each other, kind of like a little interactive social dating type of vibe community.
Virtual dating,
so that everyone can like be precise to what they're looking for, what they're looking to get out of a partner, spouse, you know, what it is, what you want. So we wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. That's something that we are launching for you guys, because we haven't forgot about our singles. So make sure you stay tuned for all that it's going to be offering with that. It's called the Love Lounge, and it's on Facebook.
Yeah. So like Asha said, we want to be able to create a community that is intentional. Like, our goal is to make sure that we create a community where people are finding others who have the intentions of being married. Because right now it's hard. It's hard in this dating scene, especially with COVID going on. There's not a lot of places where you can go to meet people. People play too much. They're not intentional with what they be doing. So we're very selective of who we allow into this group, because we want to make sure that we're only inviting, or we're only allowing in people who are of high value and high character. So if you think you are that type of person and you have aspirations of getting married, make sure that you go to our Facebook page, Real Relationships Podcast, and look at one of our groups called the Love Lounge, and submit a request to be accepted into our group, and we'll review it. And if, like I said, you're a high value, high character person and you know what you want in this dating scene, we'll let you in, and then you can mix and mingle.
Yes. So without further ado, let's get into it, you guys.
Yeah. So I know everybody's heard about the Gorilla Glue girl, right? Damn, that's a lot of G's.
Gorilla
Glue girl. I saw her go viral. I never watched the video. I'm gonna actually check it out for the first time on this podcast. But I know that she had put Gorilla Glue in her hair to try to style her hair.
Yeah. So it was probably a couple weeks ago. There was a woman on Facebook, or not Facebook, on Instagram, and she was showing that she had used Gorilla Glue to lay down her hairstyle instead of using hairspray, because she said she had ran out of hairspray, which was, I don't know why, but it was a huge mistake. It blew up. Like, it literally went viral in like a matter of hours, days, like not even, from this one video. And yeah, I know y'all probably saw it. Y'all probably heard about it. It was on the radio. It was on the local news, like everywhere.
It was on TMZ,
okay,
but I haven't seen it yet. So before we really dive into this and we tell y'all what the topic is today, I want to watch the video for the first time. Have you watched the video?
I watched the video.
Right,
I'm surprised you haven't seen it.
Nah, I've been busy. You know, we've been busy trying to do stuff for the podcast.
I mean, it's all over social media. So
well, let's get into it then.
Yeah.
Hey y'all. For those of y'all that know me, know my hair has been like this for about a month now. It's not
I
by
don't
choice.
know nobody hair that been like that for a month.
It's not by choice. When I do my hair, I like to, finish it off with the little Got to Be glue spray. Just to keep it in place. Well, I didn't have any more Got to Be glue spray, so I used this.
I don't know.
Gorilla Glue spray. Bad idea. Y'all, look.
That
My
thing
hair-
laid though.
Okay,
It don't
it ain't
move.
going nowhere. No wind, no nothing.
Yo.
Move. I've washed my hair 15 times. And
15.
it don't move.
She watched that joint
Well.
15 and it's shining like that.
My hair. So I'm gonna tell y'all like this: if you ever run out of Got to Be glue spray, don't ever use this.
Learn
Unless
from
you
her
want your
mistakes,
hair to be
y'all.
like that.
Okay.
Oh no, I don't even think they played the whole video, but that right there,
No, because at the end, she like showed herself putting on like shampoo and trying to like show scrunching it up, trying to get it out. That thing ain't go nowhere.
listen to me. That thing was shining like it was like she just got it done. She said she done washed it 15 times.
I can't.
Listen, so for those who don't know, Asha has a background as a hairstylist. How long was you a hairstylist? 10 plus years?
10 plus years, yes.
Tell us what does that do to your hair when you put Gorilla Glue in it instead of spray? Like if you don't have spray, for her,
You can see what it does to
All
your
right,
hair.
all right.
It's
So,
going to damage your
I got
hair.
a better question. So if she did run out of hairspray, if people are out there run out of hairspray,
Don't do
what
that.
can they do
Don't do that. Run to the store and go get you some hairspray.
if they can't get to the store?
Well, then you just gonna have to sit in the house. You shouldn't be that pressed to lay your hair down if you ain't got nowhere to go.
What's the craziest thing you ever did if you ran out of product for your hair or for a client's hair? You ain't in the hair industry
I
no
would
more. So
never.
if you
I would
listen, if you
never.
did something crazy,
No,
the
no,
statute
no.
of limitations is up. We got umbrella insurance, so they can't sue us for everything we got.
No.
Did you ever do anything crazy to a client
No, absolutely
because you ran
not.
out of product?
Absolutely not. I think the biggest thing that I probably did for myself, and this was like even with being like a little kid or stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or like not a little kid but younger, like if I didn't have hair products to lay my hair down, I put like lotion in my hair.
What?
Like, you need some like moisturizer. You ain't got no more moisturizer. This one was using like pink hair lotion back then. And I would like, if I ain't have no, I'll grab the lotion that we had.
You think it's like body lotion?
Yeah. Go ahead, lay it down with the little body lotion.
It
That's
work-
the craziest
It worked
thing.
because
No, I ain't do that recently now. No, but yeah, I would never like got Gorilla Glue.
yeah, that's being a little bit too resourceful.
Cause Got to Be Glue is real strong.
Yeah.
But Gorilla Glue.
Crazy. But
Mm.
this leads us into our topic for today.
Yes.
Like I said, that was my first time watching the video, and I listened to her say that, she put this glue in her hair and she tried to wash it out 15 times and it would not wash out.
That thing wasn't moving.
And when she said, I just thought to myself, like, man, we need to have marriages like that. Where it's like, no, hear me out though. You laughing, but just hear me out. When she said that, it was like, there are going to be a lot of storms that are thrown at your relationship
Mm-hmm.
and at your marriage. And you got to have the type of glue that no matter what is thrown at you, it will hold tight,
Come on with the analogy.
right? It won't wash away.
Okay.
And so for this episode, we wanted to call this Gorilla Glue because we wanted to be able to give y'all the glue that's going to be able to keep your family together,
Right.
to keep your marriage together, despite how many times life tries to wash it out.
Absolutely.
So-
So let's get into what we like to call Gorilla Glue, what we call glue
Yeah.
to hold your family, your relationship together.
Yeah,
You want to
so
start off?
Yeah, let's give them the 4 different things that glue stands for, and then we'll dive in deep to them.
Okay. So what we like to call glue is God, love, unity, and effective communication.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are the 4 things from glue that we feel like is going to hold strong and keep your relationship strong, keep it bonded,
Yeah.
so that you're not being broken by everyday obstacles in life, right?
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of people are facing challenges right now because of COVID. So we just felt like this episode was needed because we don't want to see people making permanent decisions based off temporary circumstances. Like this whole world is going through a storm right now. Right. And there's a lot of people who are letting go of their partner during this storm when this is a time where you should be holding on to your partner so they don't blow away, so that you don't blow away. So we hope that this episode, Glue, really helps give you the tools to keep your marriage and your family together. Right. So let's touch on the first one. We talked about God. Give them a little backstory about when we started to take our faith journey, because we didn't always have a close relationship with God. You want to give them a little backstory on that?
Yeah. So, well, basically, we both grew up with grandparents who were in church, right? And they had a strong spiritual background, but we weren't it wasn't necessarily like enforced in our households, right? Yeah. And so as we got older, I guess it was just us both trying to maneuver and find our way. We believed in God, but it wasn't like we had a solid foundation in it. And so we had plenty of discussions in our relationship about it. But we just started to really take it more serious and like really talk about it and discuss it more and wanting to dive deeper into our faith when we were just faced with so much adversity. And it started with, Devin. He was playing in the NFL. He was facing a lot of injuries. Leah had got diagnosed with cancer. So it was just so many challenges that we were facing. Like literally even months before that, you had went into the hospital with blood clots.
Yeah, I'll touch on that. So like Asha said, I was dealing with a lot of stuff my second year in the NFL. I had dislocated my elbow against the Lions, and I was out for 5 weeks. After that, 2 weeks after coming back from the dislocated elbow, I blew out my back against the Steelers, ended up having season-ending back surgery, and then a week after that surgery, I ended up getting rushed to the hospital where I almost died from multiple blood clots in my lungs. And it was just like a crazy, dark time in my life, in our life. And I remember Asha talking to me about going back to church, that maybe I was going through so much darkness because I was missing something in my life. Because as you know, darkness is not actually a thing, but it's an absence of light. And I needed to find a source of light. So Asha talked about going back to church, and I was open for it because I was going through so much in my life. I was ready for a change. And then we ended up going back to church, and it was like the best decision that Asha told me to do because we didn't really know the challenges that were ahead of us. So I go back to church. The doctors tell me I might have to retire from playing football because I had to be on blood thinners for my blood clots. And if I get hit on the field, I might bleed out if something happens to me. So there was a lot going through my mind. And I remember this one Sunday in church, I remember the pastor saying that, somebody was going to get big news this week, that somebody's going to be healed. And I felt like he was talking to me. Like he didn't know the situation I was going through, but I knew. And I was praying that he was talking to me when he was saying that somebody's going to get good news. I was hoping the doctor was going to tell me that my blood clots were gone and I didn't have to retire from playing football. And that Wednesday when I ended up going to the doctors, that's what happened. They ran tests on me and they didn't see any blood clots in my lungs anymore. And they was like, man, this is a miracle. We wasn't expecting to see this. So I'm like, yo, like when you get close to God like this, what really can happen for your life. Yeah. So Asha was like, man, let's take this a step further. Let's get baptized together. I'm like, I'm all in. Like if this happened already and I didn't even dip my toe in the water yet, let me just go ahead, throw my whole body up in the pool. And that's what we did. We decided to take our journey a step further. We got baptized together, and then we got hit with one of the biggest challenges ever because 2 months later, Leah ended up getting diagnosed with cancer. And I struggled with my faith, as I'm sure Asha struggled with her faith during that time, because I'm like, God, how do I give my life to you? And then now my daughter's life may be taken. But I struggled bad with that. But I realized that this wasn't God allowing this to happen to Leah, but she had stage 4 cancer. So maybe he was revealing that this was going on in Leah's body so that we had a fighting chance. And I can tell you this, there was a lot of dark times during those days of, chemo and cancer, that if I didn't have a relationship with God when I did, I would have struggled.
Yeah.
Because I had to lean on my faith a lot during that time because I didn't have the answers to everything. So a lot of the issues I was going through, I just gave it to God and really just focused on what I could control. But this is when we got introduced to God as a couple.
Yeah. I feel like, and it's so important for me to just throw this in there because we are Christian. We believe in God. So this is our, spiritual foundation. But I feel like it's so important for so many people, all the people of different backgrounds that follow us, just to know it's just about being grounded in your faith, or what that is, being spiritual. Because I feel for us, with us finding God and having that strong foundation is what really kept us afloat.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of times, like Devin said, it was hard. Like the road was rocky. It was so hard. And it was just like we were both in a tunnel where you couldn't see any light. It was complete darkness. And it was just like, I needed to believe in God. I needed to have that foundation to know I have someone holding my hand right here next to me with my husband. But who's guiding us is God. We may not see no light right now. We may not even know what's in front of us, what we might trip over, what we might fall into. We have no clue, but just having that faith and knowing that, okay, I'm walking in this darkness, but God is guiding me and I'm going to get through it is what really kept us afloat. Yeah. And I feel like it's so important for me to say that because a lot of people you may not believe what we believe, but having that strong foundation and having that being connected spiritually is so important because it will keep you grounded in so many ways in your relationship because tough times is going to come.
Yeah.
Like tough times is inevitable. We're all going to go through challenges. We see like people might have been thinking they were living a life before and then the pandemic hit, right? And then look what happens. Everybody's just faced with adversity at this point. Everyone's facing challenges, some greater than others, but we just got knocked down with a huge blow.
Yeah.
And so it's like having that strong foundation is so important because you're going to be able to, pick yourself up in the midst of all the darkness, in the midst of the storm, and be like, I can keep moving forward.
Yeah. And then when we talk to other couples, because it's like we going on 5 years of marriage. To some, that's a long time. To others, that's not a long time. I know to me and Asha, 5 years is a long time, especially when you didn't see it growing up.
Right.
But when we talk to couples who've been married 15, 20, 25 years, like a lot of times when you talk to men, they will say things like, just say yes. Like very surface level advice on how to keep a marriage strong. But when I really just try to dig in deep, like, no, there's something more to just saying yes. Because if it was that easy, like marriages, there wouldn't be such high divorce rates. If you just had to say yes to your wife, like, don't give me surface level answers.
Right.
Like as a man, I want to know how to be the best husband I can be so I can keep my family together and make my marriage work. And when you really talk to families who are marriages that last 15, 20, 25 years, they all say keep God at the center of it. Like every single one. And it's crazy to not listen to people who have gone that far. Because just imagine the obstacles that you had to go through in 15, 20, 25 years with somebody.
Right.
It's tough. And they all say that when you have your faith to lean on, it makes the impossible possible. Like it doesn't make marriage easier, but it makes it possible to overcome it.
Absolutely.
So that's when we really started to dive into it and we started to have our Bible studies on, our Instagram Live because we didn't only want to, take this knowledge and then have a closer relationship with God, but we wanted other people who are interested in having a closer relationship with God to build with us. So you want to keep God at the center of your marriage. The second one is love.
Love.
It's so important, and it's not even about that puppy love.
Yeah.
But it's about that real love. Like when the butterflies and everything fade away, the euphoric feeling of meeting somebody new fade away, can you still love your partner?
Right.
Not in the way that you want to love them, but in the way that they want to be loved.
Right.
And we struggled with that. And we finally got it under wraps because I didn't know how Asha wanted to be loved. I loved her how I felt like everybody wanted to be loved. I didn't think that that people had different love languages, right? I just gave what I saw.
Right.
And although I thought I was loving her the proper way, she wasn't receiving it the way that I thought she was. But after we learned about the 5 love languages, I'll let Asha touch on that a little bit more. We've been able to love each other the way that we both need to be loved.
Yeah. I think it's so big because for us just to realize that love is not just, it's not like just an emotion or a feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a relationship.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because it's something that you're going to have to realize, like, you love this person. We all think of, oh, I love this person. We're so lovey-dovey. We're always affectionate. But true love, real love, is knowing that you're with that partner. And sometimes you're going to be looking at them sideways like, I don't know about you today, right?
Right.
Y'all going to have those
How many times you look at me like that?
Okay. we can't even count right now, okay?
They gonna be like, I ain't listening to them.
But no, like, love is like knowing that you're going to go through some trials and tribulations with that person. And you're not just basing those feelings of love off of that moment.
Mm-hmm.
You're not basing it off of that tough time. It's deep down in the core of you, to the center of you, like, I truly love this person. It's within me. Like you said, it's my actions. It's the way I display and carry myself, how I respect this person, how I treat this person, like, no matter what. So I feel like it's really important for a lot of people to realize and understand that it's not just about the good times. Love is with you in the bad times as well. I love this man through the ups and the downs. So I think that's really important for a lot of people to know. But going into what you were saying about just like the 5 love languages.
Before you get into the love language, can I say something? Because I feel like you just said something that was so important. You said that love is how I carry myself and how I act. And I think that's so important. It's not even about just how you carry yourself in front of your partner, but most importantly, how you carry yourself when you're not in your partner's presence.
Absolutely.
It's so important. Character plays so much of an importance in love. Like, will you be the same person outside of your partner's presence that you portray in their presence?
Right. That's important.
It's so important because me as a man, like, I understand that what I do out there in this world is a representation of my family.
Absolutely.
Of my last name. And every time I step out of this house, I got to make sure that every decision I make, I can ask myself, will my family be proud I made this decision?
I think
that's
that's
love.
Both ways. Absolutely.
Yeah, being able to sacrifice the things or the urges that you may have for the betterment of your family. Like, that's true love. It's an action. Love is all about sacrifice. But I just wanted to bring that up before you jumped into the 5 love languages, because when you said that, I was like, man, it's so true. It's really about how you carry yourself and the actions that you take.
Yeah. So a lot of you guys probably heard we were discussing on previous podcasts. And also on our Patreon, if you're on there, we had a interview with Gary Chapman, of the author of the 5 love languages, right? Yeah. And in that book, it pretty much discusses your 5 love languages. So we have physical touch, right? Words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, and what was the 5th one?
Acts of service.
Acts of service. There you go. And so all of those things are basically how you receive love, right? And so although we may all have bits and pieces of each one of those, we have a primary love language. So in the beginning, it was really hard for me and Devin to really love each other properly, right?
Yeah.
Because we were struggling to identify what our love language was, and we didn't really have a clue of the whole love language thing, right, until it was introduced to us. And in doing that, it was so like eye-opening, because I had thought that I was loving you the proper way, or what I thought was loving and showing you love wasn't effective, because that wasn't the way that you received love. And I think it's so important for finding that out for your partner, because, for example, you may be doing something, like I was doing something where I could be, oh, I'm going to give Devin a gift today, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a gift. He likes this. He likes that. He likes nice things. Let me shower him with gifts, right? But if that's not his primary love language, he may be like, oh, that's nice, but I don't receive that as love.
Right.
Whereas if I'm doing what his actual love language is, where yours is acts of service, and I'm showing him like, oh, let me show him with the things that I'm doing. Let me go do this, and he can actually see I'm providing him a service that he can see, not like an actual service. Y'all might take that love.
I mean, I take that.
Y'all might
Get
take
a little
that the
physical
wrong
touch
way.
in there.
I can't.
I
When I said
provide
that,
him
I
a
was like,
service.
yeah, that sounds kind of crazy. But y'all know what I mean.
Y'all know I like crazy.
But yeah, like being able to communicate your love effectively through the five love language, and finding your partner's primary love language is so important, because I feel like it changes how you love. Like it opens up a whole world of actually loving your partner. And I just want to give an example, because I feel like we was going at one point in time in our relationship, we was going through like our little bump in the road, right? And
that thing was Mount Everest. Girl, don't try to minimize.
we were going through a bump in the road, you guys.
No,
you know,
this ain't no speed bump. This joint was a mountain, cuz.
You don't even know what time I'm talking about.
I don't even care, cuz.
But no, so Devin, he has always been like a romantic guy. He does things here and there. But it was
Don't get off that topic. Keep blowing my head up.
You know what? I can't.
What else am I, girl?
He is a hopeless romantic at heart, right? So we had discussed the 5 love languages. We took the test. We found out what our love languages were, right? Mm-hmm. And so he found out that my love language was words of affirmation.
I know where you're going with this. Go ahead,
and
girl.
So after that evening, you know, he figured out, I guess he came up with it that night. I don't know. But the next morning, I was getting ready for class. I woke up early in the morning before everyone, made our coffee, getting breakfast ready, and went into the office to get ready for class. And on our desk, he had like little sticky notes. He had little sticky notes, like writing me notes that's telling me that I was like a great mom, a great wife, how beautiful I am. Just saying all these positive words of affirmation, which was just like
life into your woman, fellas.
Speaking life into me, and just feeding my love tank, which they like to call filling my love tank up. And I felt like that was really big, because I realized how important my love language was at that moment, because of how that made me feel. And so in doing that, it was like, okay, well, he filled me up. Let me go fill him up, right? So I feel like it's so important, because when you see that your partner is lacking in a certain area, or you feel like y'all have a disconnect, just being able to fill them up, fill that love tank up, can really shift that lack of communication or that disconnect that you have.
Yeah, because when somebody feels like they're being loved properly, they'll reciprocate that. Mm-hmm. They'll start to love you properly, because now their love tank is filled up. So now they have love to give. So it's very important.
Over.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the biggest thing I took away from what you just said is there's no point of, like, it's not good enough to just know your partner's love language, but you have to actually speak it.
Yes.
Like me understanding what Asha's love language was, like that enabled me to speak it, but I had to make the decision to actually do it. And I'm going to tell you, like, sometimes you're going to take steps forwards and then you're going to take step backwards, because old habits are hard to break. So it's not like every single day I'm posting sticky notes all around the house. There's some days where I'm better than others, but you have to, I know I say this a lot, you have to give yourself grace.
Grace.
You have to give yourself grace as you're going through this period of change, and understanding that as long as you're continuing to move forward, that's most important. So if you don't know your partner's love language, you can go to their website, the5lovelanguages.com, and actually take the test. And the test is not just for, couples. Like, you can go on there, you can learn your child's love language, which is very important, because they also have a love language, and you should be able to speak that as a parent. So you definitely want to go take this test out, and not only help your relationship with your partner, but it'll help the relationship with your kids.
Yes. So unity is the next.
Is huge.
Yes, this is big, because I feel like it's so important for, especially in a marriage, like you becoming one, to be united and have that unity, to make sure that y'all are balanced and on the same, I know a lot of people say on the same page, in a sense, right? Yeah. Because it really determines how you move in life when you have that unity.
Yeah, because you are up against so much stuff in life, man. Mm-hmm. It's so much stress, especially as you get older. You start working, you get hit with things like the pandemic, you have kids. Like, there's so much stress that is put on a relationship that you have to be a united front. Yeah. Like, you have to make a decision with your partner that is me and you versus everybody. Yes, that means verse the kids. That means
they
verse
gonna
the
try,
boss.
y'all.
Yeah, that means verse the outside world is you and your partner versus everybody. Like, you have to be a united front, and that's not something we always had. And you know that from our previous episodes. And I would tell you again, that's not something we always had. We spoke about in the Blended Family episode where Asha felt like she was fending for herself. Because I was fighting for Leah. She felt like, her voice wasn't being heard when it was dealing with Leah's mom. There was just a lot of stuff going on. And I never really understood that until we seeked help for it in counseling. And I actually sat down and I started to listen to Asha and did not start to try to defend myself. Like, I listened to understand. I didn't listen to defend.
Right.
And then I really empathized with her. I put myself in her shoes. And I thought about how I would feel if I was in that situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This is not united. Like, we are fighting for different things. And I don't want my partner to ever feel like that. So I think that unity is so important because there's so many things that's going to try to break you guys apart that if you're not united, they're going to succeed in breaking you apart.
Yeah. I think we talked about this before, but just like even creating a place of zen in your household.
Spiritual healing place.
Yes, a spiritual healing place in your household is just like you said, when you go out into the world, you're up against so much. You may even be up against stuff that's trying to intrude your home. You know what I mean? And just having that, just like that spiritual, emotional, peaceful mindset and communication and just energy between you and your partner makes the world of difference. Like, you're able to really see things clearer and you're able to really communicate and just come up with a way to just fight off all of that negative energy when you have that unity between y'all. Because if not, it's like a tug of war. It's like, oh, we're up here, I'm trying to fight for this and I'm trying to fight for that and you're trying to fight for this and you're trying to fight for that. And it's just like you get in this tug of war where you're just at odds with everything.
Yeah.
But when we're united and we're fighting for the same things and we're on the same page, it's like, okay, we're that much stronger, right? So it's just like, it's so important, I feel like, to have that unity in your relationship because it's like you're going to be up against a lot.
Yeah. I mean, if I got to wear my boxing gloves constantly outside of my house, I'm fighting with my boss, I'm fighting with traffic, I'm fighting with society, especially as a black man. Like, if I got to fight so much, I got to keep my gloves on all the time outside the house. I don't want to come home where I still feel like I have to wear these gloves because I'm fighting with my woman.
Absolutely.
And vice versa. Like, a woman don't want to feel like she has to constantly fight with her man. Like, it has to be a place, your home has to be a place where you can take the gloves off and that y'all can recharge. Y'all can recharge each other's battery to go out there and attack the world again. But we have to learn how to take our gloves off when we're in the house. Because like I said, it should be us against the world, no matter what you're going through.
Okay. And so the next one is
effective communication.
This is
and
key.
This really should be effective connection.
Yes.
But communication is so important. We struggled with this a lot in our relationship. And I'm gonna teach y'all something today that's really gonna help change because I've seen the impact that it's had in my life thus far. But sometimes it's hard to communicate with your partner if you've never really been taught conflict resolution.
Right.
Like, when arguments or conflicts arise in your relationship, in your marriage, and you've never really been taught how to overcome those challenges, it'll be hard to communicate with your partner.
Yeah.
And the worst thing in a relationship is to feel unheard. Would you agree? Because I know you talk to me about this a lot.
Yeah, I think for us personally and going through that, it's like, it's the worst feeling just because it's like you want to be able to get through to your partner. You want them to hear you. And when you feel like you're not being heard, you feel like it's like you're in it by yourself, right? It's like I'm in a relationship, but I feel by myself because I'm talking to you. I'm trying to connect to you. I'm trying to get you to understand how I'm feeling, what I'm saying, and it's just not translating. And so that for us at one point was like a huge issue. And I feel like a lot of people deal with that.
Yeah. And when you can't connect like that on an emotional level, on a mental level, that's when you start to see the decline in the physical level.
Yes.
Because I'm going to keep it raw with y'all real quick. Pun intended. Me and Asha used to get it in. Like, we used to have so much sex when we first met.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, 2-3 times a day. You pick a place in a taxi
Okay,
cab
you
in
gotta
Las
give us
Vegas.
all our business.
All right, I'm sorry. In a taxi cab in Las Vegas. Throw that out there one more time.
Lord Jesus.
We used to have a lot of fun, but we went through a lot of trauma in our relationship. We just wasn't connecting on an emotional level, and it really impacted us so much. And I know a lot of people out there may have been going through the same thing, where you feel like that physical connection with your partner is gone, and you're wondering why or how you can get it back. Like, you got to be able to connect on that emotional and mental level. You have to be able to communicate better, because what you have to understand is that sex doesn't create love. Sex expresses love. So if you are in a relationship where you don't feel heard, how can you truly express your love through that intimate moment of sex?
Yeah.
It's impossible. That's when it becomes transactional, where you're not trying to connect with your partner. You're not trying to allow your bodies to communicate, but you're just trying to get a nut off.
Right.
Right. And that's not how sex should be, especially in a marriage. It should be a time where you're intimate with your partner, where your bodies are connecting, where your minds are connecting, right? Or y'all just connecting on a whole different type of level, a spiritual level. And when you're missing that effective communication from your relationship, it's going to impact the physical part of it. But I learned something that I've been really trying to implement, not only in me and Asha's marriage, but in every relationship that I have with people, and it's validation. Like, people want to know that their feelings are validated.
Right.
How they feel is validated. And when you validate somebody, when you're communicating with them, you're seeking to understand the emotion that they're presenting to you when they talk to you. And then you let them know that what they're feeling is okay, is understandable. And I've noticed as I've been practicing that, right? Because a lot of times, especially as a man, I always would listen to defend myself.
Right.
Oh, she telling me this, well, I got something for her. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I know what my response is going to be. I'm not even really listening to her.
Right.
So by the time it's my time to talk, or if I just jump in there, she's like, man, he didn't even hear what I just said. Like, he was so focused on what he wanted to say, he didn't even hear how I truly feel. And when I had to stop myself and say, you know what, I'm intentionally listening. I'm seeking what emotion Asha is trying to convey to me. And then once she says that, like, say she says, I'm like really upset because we don't get to spend time as much anymore. And it's frustrating me. Like, I repeat to her and say, you know, I understand why you're sad and you're frustrated. Like, I would be frustrated. I'm frustrated as well, because we are not finding time to spend with each other. Yeah. So I'm not telling her how we can fix it right off the bat, because sometimes people don't want to hear how they can fix it. They just want to know that you heard what they were saying, right? Especially with women. They don't always need their men to fix the problems. They just want to hear that you heard how they said and validate that they are in their own rights to feel that way.
Right.
And when I started to take that approach, I see our relationship changing. When I take that approach with other people, I see the impact that it has. So if you want to be able to have effective communication with your partner, learn to validate during y'all exchanges. And I promise you will see a change in that.
Yeah. I think that's really big, because even with us, I noticed that it kind of shifts the tone of our disagreement, right? Because I can be a very hot-headed individual when I have to get my point across, or I'm upset about something.
Honesty.
You're gonna know, y'all. Okay? You're gonna know about it. You're gonna know how I feel. I wear my emotions on my sleeves, y'all. So it's like, you're gonna know I'm upset, and I want to get my point across completely. And so being able to communicate how I feel, and like Devin said, having that validation of hearing what I'm saying, to repeat it back, to empathize and understand what I'm trying to express to you, and then relay what your response is really important, because then it goes from you actually listening to communicate and come up with a resolution, versus, oh, I'm just listening to respond and I just want to get my point out. You know what I mean? Which then turns into a back and forth, and turns into a screaming match, turns into something else, because it's like, okay, we're just talking to each other. We're just constantly going back and forth, bouncing things off of each other, and not really listening and hearing each other to try to resolve anything. And so I feel like doing that and implementing that into our relationship and how we communicate has been very helpful with us moving in the direction that we've been moving. And I feel like it's something that a lot of people can benefit from if they do that.
Yeah, and this, like I said earlier on in the podcast, when you learn new things, it's not going to just change overnight. As we talked about before, it's like putting the writing in the cement. If you've been a bad communicator your whole life, if you've been a bad communicator in your relationship, you have put those habits into your relationship. Like, it has become your norm. So unlearning that and relearning new things is going to take some time. Like, for example, a couple of days ago, me and Asha was having a discussion. I can't even remember what it's about, but I wouldn't share it with y'all anyway. But we were talking about something. I went right on the defense of what she was saying. And about after maybe 2 or 3 minutes, I stopped myself. Like, I stopped the conversation and I said, Asha, can we start over? Because in my mind, I said, yo, this whole time we've been talking, I've been thinking about how I'm going to respond. I've been defensive. This is not the right way to have this conversation. So I knew it threw her off, where I just stopped and said, yo, can we start all over? And she was like, why do you want to start all over? Because I think that she think I'm going to continue the same way I was doing. But I sat down on the bed and I just started validating her. I started to listen to what she was saying to me. And I let her know that I understand why she felt that way.
Right.
So understand that this is a process. Nothing is going to happen overnight. But the fact that you're taking the time out to listen to this podcast and gain an understanding of what you can do in order to fix your relationship is the first step.
Yeah.
Now the next step is to implement those things into your relationship, because nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times people say what they say, education is power. What do they say? What is the saying?
Knowledge is key.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge
But
is power.
yeah,
I said knowledge is key.
Yeah, knowledge is key. Now, knowledge
Key
is
and power.
knowledge is power. But honestly, I believe that knowledge is potential power, because you can know how to do all the right things, but if you don't actually put it into action, it's not actually power. So make sure that when y'all are listening to these podcasts, or if you're listening to other people, hopefully, you listen to us more, or you're reading books, put into action what you were reading or what you were listening to, because it doesn't matter how much you know if you're not actually using that knowledge to actually make a difference in your relationship.
Right. Yeah, so
Y'all got that Gorilla Glue.
Yes, make sure y'all have y'all Gorilla Glue for y'all relationship, okay? Not for your hair or anything else that it don't stay on the bottle.
Right.
But I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. We enjoyed it. Getting back into the swing of things. We already have another episode in mind for you guys.
Yeah, we might give y'all 2 next week, because we've been slacking. So
yeah, and a lot of people have been asking about this particular topic with emotional intimacy. So I think we're gonna try to indulge and dive deep into that. What you think?
I think so too, but I also think that maybe we need to get different chairs, because as I'm watching this on our monitor, why we keep going like this? Why we keep swaying like we some little kids?
I don't know. It's just fun. We just having fun.
I'm like, why we keep doing this? Like, this thing need to sit still. But now we got some good episodes coming for y'all. So stay on the lookout. Yes. What is today? Thursday night? I'm about to hurry up and edit this for y'all and put this out tonight. So you may wake up to it early in the morning. But make sure you tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for our weekly wind down. Go ahead and grab your bottles and meet us at 7. We have an amazing couple coming on our weekly wind down tomorrow that I think is going to have a huge impact on whoever tunes in. So make sure you're there, 7 p.m. sharp. And, as always, what you tell them?
Until next time, you guys, keep it real.
Yes, sir.